A little bit lower level. You guys can't even see when the replay ends. That's a good thing. But yeah, we've got a PVT here. So PVT, on a map like this, a 4-player map, I usually scout a little bit earlier. Sometimes I'll scout off a Nexus, but I usually scout off a Gateway on a 4-player map. It's pretty wide open as well, which means you can't rely on pylons to defend your expansion. Which is a big thing. Yeah, you can use the SC2 repstats command to sign up and upload your replays if you know how to do that. But what I like to do, I usually make a pylon at the front because a lot of people will send their Reapers in this corner. One, you can overcharge and defend the ramp. You can overcharge and defend the ramp. And you can overcharge and kill Reapers as well. So that's your basic ramp defense. That's why a lot of people aren't able to come up ramps in Legacy of the Void, just because of spot overcharge. I get lucky, and I send my Probe Scout right towards his base. Now, a lot of Terran players don't really wall off that early nowadays. The shameless plug. But I go in, I see he has gas, so he has a potential for either a Reaper or a Reactor. I like to stick around and get an idea. It looks like I don't stick around this game. But seeing whether he goes for a Reactor first or a Reaper first is kind of important. But I've seen nothing here. A big thing is I saw he didn't go gas first. If he doesn't go gas first, you can tell because of how much gas has been mined. And when the barracks finishes. The barracks should finish right around like 130, 125. We can actually go back a little. And see the exact timing, because he had a barracks on point here. The barracks should finish by about 130 at the latest. If it finishes at like 135, 140, then make sure to check their gas and see if they went for a gas first. But as you can see here, he's only mined 56, so I know he didn't go for that gas very early on. Just little things when it comes to scouting. I accidentally pressed that button. God damn it. Alright. But during this, I've determined, like, this expansion, there's nothing you can really do. Going for the expansion before the Cybercore is pretty customary. Even against Reaper expand, because by the time the Reaper gets in, you should have an Adept finishing up. So you don't have to worry too much. I'm immediately getting the 2 gas behind to make sure I have enough gas to get Warp Gate and to get Adepts. But as is customary, he gets the Expo. Did I actually scout this? I didn't scout this yet, but I already know by the fact he didn't get an early second gas, and I didn't see a Reactor that he's going for a Reaper, so it's very intuitive that he's going to expand. It'd be very weird if he didn't. I've only played a couple co-op missions, which include me, like, 1v2ing Brutal, or, like, soloing Brutal, pretty much. But, yeah. Now, this pylon is important. This pylon is for drop defense and just basic defense on anything that gets by. I mean, attacks at the front are kind of difficult to defend, but the current meta right now is for not direct attacks, because Photon Overcharge is so good against units on the ground. But instead to go for things like Liberators, I'm already putting this pylon in position to pretty much zone out a Liberator, and also like Widowmine drops or just Marine drops or something like that. Having a pylon by your mineral line is very important in order to be able to have defense against those things. Oh yeah, the Reaper's coming out, but notice the Adept is already on the way by the time the Reaper is getting here, so I'm pretty much completely safe. Usually you have to go for the Adepts first. When you're going for this build, you're not going to have the gas for a Mothership Core right off the bat. How important is the double gas? The double gas is very important if you're going for a Nexus before the Cyber Core, because you get your Cyber Core before you get gas. If you don't get double gas, then you're not going to have enough gas to get Warp Gate, Adept, and Mothership Core in a timely manner, which kind of defeats the purpose of getting an early Expo because you're so vulnerable to early attack. You can tweet your replays at me, guys. I try to go for this around, but that's just buying time till the Adept can finish. Nothing crazy here. Actually, killing the Reaper is a pretty big deal, but I'm not able to get the kill. It's a little bit sloppy. But this is also important. I kept my probe back. I kept it in the corner over here, and I came back in, like, as the Reaper was coming out to try to sneak in, because a lot of players will leave their Marines out here. So I was able to slip in and get the scout on the factory. Getting a scout on the factory is a huge deal. This tells you he's not going for a bio push early on. He doesn't have the barracks and the forces to go for an attack. I can already see he doesn't have a reactor. He has a factory relatively quickly, so this is going to be a heavy tech build. Do I have vision? I think I got vision of the fact he didn't have a second gas as well, which means this is probably Widow Mines or Hellions. He's not going to have that many Marines, but he's probably going straight up to a starport. He's not investing any gas in anything but this 111 tech tree. So at the same time, I'm seeing, okay, yeah, I see he doesn't have a second gas. I get all the scouting information. I send out my Adept immediately because I started another Adept in my Mothership Core. I'm thinking right now, I can maybe do some damage. He doesn't have a reactor. He's not actually going to have enough Marines to defend this, right? Like, if I get an Adept in there, he only has 2 Marines. An Adept just manhandles 2 Marines. Just slaps them in the face and then starts going at the SCVs. So he kills the probe, but I see right now, I didn't actually expect this. This is not something I would have expected here. I'd expect, like, going for, yeah, I'm going in, and there's nothing to defend the Adept. I already knew. Now, it's important I already saw where both the Marines were as well. The Marines are in the main. I know I'm completely safe to just walk over here and get some damage done. I shaded the Adept into the main. Now, notice how he reacted. This is just a little thing here.
Game started.
This is just a little thing here. But notice the shade and what he does with his Marines. He is moving... Wow, okay, never mind. I don't know. I thought he moved his Marines, and then he moved them back for the shade, but I was completely wrong about that. I think I'd do that in a second, though. How you manipulate the shade is very important. I was hyping something up there, but as you can see, I move away, and, well, if he's going to chase me... Okay, this is the point of decision-making. If he's going to chase me, you let the shade finish. You do more damage in the main. If he starts moving back a few seconds early, I just chill out and wait for the cooldown. But this Adept micro is the difference between getting like 3 kills, and we'll see how many kills this one Adept gets just by manipulating these Marines back and forth. We're looking at 6 kills so far on one Adept, just because I got the scouting information off the probes. And, well, yeah, we're going down to the low ground once again. He pulls the SCVs, but not in time. And we pretty much won the game off of one Adept. Remember, this is a GM game, guys. But players will make these mistakes. I brought my Mothership Core over because I knew he wouldn't have the real capability to defend. And he doesn't even have a bunker up yet. So I pretty much win the game with an Adept and a Mothership Core. His build wasn't ideal. He was going for a super greedy 3cc build, and this is a good reason why you can't get away with it here. But he's already lost 14 workers at the very start of the game. This is all because, 1, I scouted he didn't have a reactor, 2, he didn't have a second guess. He didn't have any scary tech that I would have to worry about, so I knew I'd be able to get a little bit of damage done early, and that could spiral out of control. And behind this, I'm getting a robotic... I never have good SimCity, but I already have the robotics in case he's going for, like, tanks or Widow Mines. And I already have the gateways being added on and some random-ass pylons for some reason. I mean, I'm kind of microing on the other side, so that's... I could actually have set my base up better and quicker. Like, I could have a forge right now. Warp gate's done, and I didn't actually transition into a warp gate, but I saw the opportunity to go for it, so I take it here. But yeah, at this point, even 3cc, he's forced to lift his nets. That's never a good time. There's a Cyclone on the way, which will force me to get out of here, but... At this point, the game is pretty much won. If I lost the game from this point, I'd be very disappointed in myself. It's 39 probes to 19 SCVs. Just fast forward a little. I know he doesn't have the production to make a meaningful amount of units. So I sit back. I have an observer now. Make 1 immortal, make a couple more gates, and I'm thinking, okay, we just do a Warp Prism push before he gets any sort of meaningful production, and we kill him. And that's pretty much what goes down here, I believe. This was a few days ago, by the way. This game. I didn't remember it entirely, but now I remember it. I can almost always, like, remember games from the past couple months, even, if I watch the first few minutes. But yeah, I see he's finally getting a decent SCV count, but... I mean, you look at the army supplies here. 27 to 11. I knew he didn't have the production to actually put anything together. And there you go. I win the game from here. I mean, he can hold out for a little while. I already have a third base on the way, but the worker counts... He actually caught up because of that 3cc, but... There you go. From here, you just kind of walk over. But that came down to just the early scout of his production, seeing what production he had, as well as just reacting to it. The Adept micro is really important in that situation. Alright. And obviously I win from here.
Game ended.